Good morning. This is the ShallowCross Sports Network with the AA. We're bringing you a show with the Tennessee State Tigers today. We'll talk a little bit about what I do know. Not a whole lot of information out there, but we're going to talk a little bit about what I saw at the Tennessee State scrimmage a week or so ago. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on with the Big Blue. With that said, let's get right on into it. Yeah, Tennessee State is had to rebuild a new coach that's there. He brought in a whole bunch of new coaches, Reggie Barlow, and he had a meet and greet for the former players, a week or so ago. And I just happened to be there, and I saw the team play in the scrimmage. Don't know where they are. I have saw several quarterbacks play, and don't know where they are at quarterback. Offensive line looks like they're going to be pretty good on the offensive line. Receivers, I didn't really see a lot of good receiver play, but quarterback play, I didn't see a lot of good quarterback play either. But like I said, that was just that particular day, I guess. Defense side of the ball, it looked like it quick and fast. Maybe small at the corners, but other than that, I like what I saw with the team. And I don't know how Coach Barlow has done it, but he was able to bring in a number of players in the transfer portal and to make up for the 46 that left. Now, that's a little bit deceiving, the 46 players that left, because some of those guys, I think Coach George had about 16, 17 guys that were seniors. And then I think the rest of them left in the portal. And so if you go out there and you look, the players that left, some of them were, I'd say about 16 of them, I counted 16 that actually found jobs out there with other schools. And some of those players are listed as starters with the teams that they transferred to in the portal. So Eddie had some real good players, and I know Reggie Barlow's going to bring some good players in also. Don't know when they're going to name a starting quarterback. Don't know anything about that, but I know they're preparing for North Carolina A&T. Probably as we speak here, they're going to practice today and this week, and then next week is going to be walkthrough, just like it is for all the schools that's getting ready to play on the 30th. And one of the things highlights was one of the quarterbacks, Jonathan Palmer. He's the nephew of the Palmer boys that played in the NFL. Carson Palmer and his brother. Of course, Carson's well known. I don't know if Carson won the Heisman Trophy. He finished second or whatever, but he was a great quarterback at USC. And then I think his brother played for UTEP, University of Texas El Paso. But he's like a quarterback whisperer. I think his name's Jordan Palmer. But he's like a quarterback whisperer, and he trains quarterbacks. So we'll see what happens with that. And then, of course, Tennessee State updated their roster. And I'm going to show you that here in a few minutes. But hopefully they'll be ready for North Carolina A&T. And I think that game starts around 3:30 in the afternoon on the 30th. And we'll see what the Big Blue Tigers can do. and I've been a big Blue Tiger fan for years, since I was a young kid growing up in Nashville, and just hoping they can get it all turned around. I know Eddie George finished 9-4 last year, and that was a pretty good season for him, and that propelled his departure to Bowling Green. And of course, as far as players that went with Eddie, I think it was only two: his son and another player, McClendon, I think, that played out there in the secondary and defensive back. I think they're the only two transfers that actually left with Eddie and went to Bowling Green. The rest of the players went everywhere. They went everywhere and found jobs. And so I think NIL was involved in that. But, well, with that said, the Big Blue Tigers, they're like about 12 or 13 days before they play, I think. Let's see, the 30th, I'm looking at 12 days, 12 days before they play their first game. And but let's look at their roster and see how he's updated the roster over the last few weeks. And he's brought in quite a few kids. He's bringing in some local kids. That Jaden guy's from Blackman. That's a local school. And of course, a lot of transfers. Braylon Perry, he's a transfer in from Prairie View. I think I went over these guys before, but they've added some more players since the last time I went over the roster. And then they added Devon Starling. He was here at one time before, and now he's back with Tennessee State again for because he went out to Northern Arizona for a year or so, and he's going to be added addition to that running back room. Of course, that was the kid I mentioned earlier, Jonathan Palmer. He is Jordan Palmer and Carson Palmer's nephew. They got a linebacker transfer from Michigan. So he's got quite a number of transfers here. And a lot of them are transferred from Power 5 and Group of 5, Power 4 and Group of 5. So we just hope they can all pull it together. But he's made some more additions to this roster since last time I checked. But with the new scholarship rules, where you can have up to 105 players on the roster, that's going to help Tennessee State out a great deal. And of course, I was just reading about the coach Cruz just a moment. But I was reading about the Gerard Cruz, the special teams coordinator, secretary coach, and he was they were basically saying that he was very pleased with the amount of defensive backs Tennessee State had already in the fold. He said back in the NFL, as a coach, you only have maybe about 7 guys, but he has 11 or 12 guys who can contribute in some way. And he said that was a blessing. The depth, Cruz said, and emphasis on teaching and player development could play a major role in TSU's push for consistency in 2025. And he's got another former Super Bowl MVP, Dexter Jackson, working with him, who played more than a decade in the NFL. So both of these guys are going to be working with the corners and the secondary, and then Justin Hannah's another analyst that Coach Barlow brought in, going to provide additional support and professional. He had professional stints in the CFL and the NFL also. And so these guys are real good coaches, and they're going to be able to work together in a triplet per se with the secondary, the safeties, and the corners, and so forth, along with special teams. And then of course, you got Greg Williams there, and he got 25 years in the NFL, and he turned undrafted free agents into Pro Bowlers. So he has a lot of experience in developing players and getting them to be what he wants them to be. So he mentioned something about AI-driven teaching tools, and of course, artificial intelligence is helping a lot of coaches learn things and teach players things quicker and more expediently than you normally would be able to do 10, 15 years ago. And of course, AI is a buzzword now. They mention that. He says, and Cruz mentioned to all the players, he said, because you have the talent, it's his job to maximize your abilities and your skill set so you can be an excellent player out there on the field. So hats off to Coach Cruz, hats off to Coach Barlow for getting a coach in with that type of experience and using AI teaching tools. That's exceptional, in my opinion. But look, I was just looking at the outlook, Tennessee State's outlook. And of course, they mentioned the new coaching staff, Reggie Barlow, Greg Williams, and Fred Koss, DC and OC. And of course, Fred Koss did not come, but they picked up Shannon Harris is going to be holding down that position. They thought Fred Koss was coming, but he didn't come. So Shannon Harris is going to be the co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. And then you're going to have let's see, who was that they had? You're going to have Toriano Morgan as the running backs coach and on the running game coordinator, more or less, an offensive coordinator, whereas Shannon Harris is going to be the passing game coordinator and the quarterbacks coach. So you're going to have both those guys working there in tandem with Tennessee State. They got good coaches. They got a chance to do well. And hopefully, if he does well, if he can win 7 games, 8 games this year, hats off to him, Coach Barlow, and they'll be able to duplicate what Eddie George did. I think just depends on who they name as quarterback. They at the scrimmage a week or so ago, I saw at least 4 or 5 quarterbacks out there. I don't know which one is going to win out and win the starting job on the 30th. So we just have to wait and see what happens with that. And then, of course, the other big news was Tennessee State hired Nolan Smith from University of Memphis, former Duke All-American, former first-round pick in the NBA, and he's the new head basketball coach at TSU. Now, he's inheriting a team that won 17 games. They were 17-16 last year, but under Collins, they was able to win 18 games just about every year. Just couldn't get over the hump and get to 20 for the years that he was the head coach. And of course, Collins left and went to the Memphis Grizzlies as an assistant. But we'll see what Nolan can do. Now, Nolan Smith's father, Derek Smith, was a legendary player at University of Louisville, and played with Junior Bridgman and played for Denny Crum. And that team was just loaded, back then. Won a national championship. And so so that's the pedigree that Nolan Smith brings to Tennessee State. And of course, he won a national championship at Duke. So we'll see how well he does with the basketball program at Tennessee State University. And and of course, the other thing too, they play that game. All the games are going, home games are going to be played in the Nissan Stadium, and hopefully the parking will be situated by then. The where they had the truck stop, there was a truck stop located adjacent to the Nissan Stadium. I think that's been torn down and it's gone, and so that's going to be utilized as parking. And we'll see, because when the new stadium is built in 27, that's going to be a big issue, parking, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But just wait to see what's happening, and I'm just happy to report on the Big Blue Tigers, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do out there on the gridiron. Now, one of the things of shake up in the Big South OVC is Tennessee Tech is leaving, headed to the SoCon conference. That kind of shook up a lot of Tennessee State fans, and it looks like one of these things where Tennessee State doesn't want to wait and get left out in the cold when it comes to sports. I'm thinking maybe money has something to do with it, and I'm thinking that travel time has something to do with it, because I think all the schools in the SoCon are closer to Tennessee Tech than some of the schools that's in the Big South. Because from Tennessee Tech to Eastern Illinois, that's a long drive, and then you got Lindenwood over there on the other side, over in the north side of St. Louis. That's a long drive also, and then of course SEMO's a pretty good drive for Tennessee Tech fans, as well as for the football team. So and then you got Gardner Webb over in North Carolina. That's a pretty good little drive, and you got Charleston Southern over in Charleston, South Carolina. That's another pretty good drive. So the SoCon schools are a little closer to Tennessee Tech. Now, Tennessee Tech is doing some things. They're building a new stadium. They're renovating their stadium. They renovated one side, and then they're torn down the other side for this year, and they're gonna have it ready for next year. And so TSU doesn't have to play Tennessee Tech up there in Cookeville. They'll play them out down in the Nissan Stadium this year. So that's one of the things I just wanted to mention. So Tennessee State's probably going to be looking to find another home somewhere too, hopefully. Whether it's in the FBS, lower level FBS like Sun Belt or Conference USA or MAC, but maybe an FCS conference, another one. And then it's always been mentioned that TSU could go back to the MEAC or the SWAC. Now, MEAC would be better, especially if North Carolina A&T left the CAI conference, Colonial Athletic Conference. If they left that Colonial American Athletic Conference, they left that conference, both those schools, Hampton and A&T, and moved back to the MEAC, then that would be a viable option for Tennessee State, because those schools still a long drive. But we just have to wait to see what happens with Tennessee State. But with that said, I think I've covered everything that I can cover with the Big Blue. And like I said, they open up. Let's look at their schedule here. They open up on the 30th with North Carolina A&T, and then of course that next game is in Nissan also, and it's a 1:30 game. And yes, 1:30. That's on September the 6th, North Dakota State. And then, of course, that next week, they go to Alabama. They play Alabama A&M in Nissan. And then the next week after that, they play Tennessee Tech in Nissan. So they have like 1, 2, 3, 4 home games in a row before they go on the road to Eastern Illinois. And that's in Charleston, Illinois. That's about a 5-hour drive. Maybe 5.5-hour drive. And then after that, they go to SEMO on the 11th of October. And that's about 3 to 4 hour drive maybe. And then they got, for homecoming on the 18th, they got Howard University coming in. That's a 4:30 game. And then after that, they got Western Illinois coming in. And that's another school. That's a very long drive to get to Western Illinois from Nashville. And then they got Lindenwood in Nashville. And then, of course, they go to Martin. That's always a tough place to play. Got Gardner-Webb coming in on the 15th of November. And then they got Charleston Southern. They go to Charleston Southern in Charleston, South Carolina. That's a pretty good drive for the Big Blue. But like I say, I hope they can win some of these games and make a good showing this year for Coach Barlow's first season as the head coach at Tennessee State. But with that said, that's going to end this show. Remember to like and subscribe, help the channel. And we're not an expert. We just I know a little bit about X's and O's, but we're just a fan, just like everybody that's going to be watching this video. But anyway, hats off to the Big Blue, and we'll see what they do down the road here with the season opening up on the 30th of August. God bless each and every one of you, and we'll see you on the next show.